Hello, my name is Kwaku Oweredu. I have invented a power generation system. I call it the Egpu. It's a free energy power generator. Now, what I mean by free energy power generator is you can connect this device, or this system, it's actually a system. You can connect it to your home and it will power your home without the need to consume any type of fuel. It doesn't require solar cells. You don't need a windmill. It's a completely independent, standalone, self-sustaining power generation system. There's no nuclear technology in this. It's a very simple technology that works basically on the basis of magnetic fields or magnetic induction. Okay, I have a paper here that I wrote. It's titled Theory of Operation. And so I'm going to read this, and I'm going to, be stopping and giving my commentary. Okay, theory of operation. So to explain how this device works, I'm giving this technology to the world. Now, of course, everybody has to make a living. We'll talk about that later. But what's more important is the world needs this technology. We, us Americans, we the people, need this technology. I feel that every household, every business in this country, every building in this country should have its own energy generation system. We need to decentralize our power distribution infrastructure. We need to decentralize our power generation infrastructure. If every building, every household had its own ability to generate its own electricity, it will be impossible for things like hurricanes, forest fires, tornadoes, EMP events from the sun, EMP attack. It will be impossible for that to bring our civilization to a screeching halt. We need to decentralize our power distribution infrastructure in this country and our power generation infrastructure in this country. We, the people, we need more self-sufficiency, especially with something as important as the ability to generate electricity, the very lifeblood of our civilization. I mean, we all know what would happen if the power went out, especially if it went out for more than a couple of weeks. Okay, we all know will have a pretty good idea of what will happen. My invention can prevent that. We the people, we need to have more control over our own households, over the energy needs of our own households. Self-sufficiency is the foundation of freedom. I'll say that again. Self-sufficiency is the foundation of freedom. We need more freedom economically and physically. Okay, my paper, Theory of Operation. Okay, so I devised a simple experiment/demonstration that one can do to prove how this technology will work. Because as I said before, it's very simple. Okay, so I call this experiment the experiment of origin. Okay, so you have a copper plate 1 inch thick and an iron plate 1 inch thick sitting about 4 feet apart on a table. You have a neodymium permanent magnet 1 inch cubed right? 1 inch tall, 1 inch wide, 1 inch long. And the experiment's very simple. Okay, let's begin with the copper plate. So you take that magnet, you know, you bring it up 2-3 feet, right? And you just drop it on the copper plate, okay? So what will happen is you drop a neodymium magnet onto the copper plate, and you will observe the neodymium magnet abruptly decrease in speed as it approaches the copper plate to the point of gently landing on the copper plate. This is a consequence of the magnet being repelled by the magnetic field generated by eddy currents created in the copper plate due to the moving magnetic field of the neodymium magnet as it falls towards the copper plate. Now, you take that same magnet, drop the same magnet onto the iron plate, and you will observe the magnet drastically increases in velocity as it approaches the steel plate. This is the exact opposite of what the magnet did when it was dropped on the copper plate. Okay, this is a direct consequence of being attracted by the magnetic field generated by the eddy currents created in the steel plate. Okay, what are eddy currents? Eddy currents are loops of electrical current induced within conductors by a changing magnetic field in the conductor according to Faraday's law of induction. Eddy currents flow in closed loops with conductors in planes perpendicular to the magnetic field. Okay, all magnetic fields are a direct result of the flow of an electric current. Okay, now let me stop right there. This is the essence of how my invention works. So let's back up a little bit. One copper plate, 1 inch thick, one steel plate, 1 inch thick. Take a magnet, we drop it on the copper plate. It slows down abruptly as it gets close to the plate and lands on the plate gently. The steel plate, drop the magnet, it speeds up and accelerates and hits the plate with much force. If the magnet's big enough, it could actually break itself, hitting the steel plate or the iron plate that hard because of the magnetic attraction between the iron plate and the neodymium magnet. Okay, let's understand what generates magnetic fields. And this is for the layman to the electrical engineer to the physicist. Okay, what generates all magnetic fields, whether it's a permanent magnet, whether it's a wire emitting a magnetic field from a battery charger charging a battery. It's one thing that creates all magnetic fields. You must have a flow of electricity or electrical current. Electricity has two components, voltage and amperage. We call that amperage current. So when you have a flow of electrical current, that just means that there is voltage with amperage. You can't have amperage and no voltage. Okay? So let me give you an example. We have a copper pipe. We have this battery. We have a forklift battery. We short the terminals of that forklift battery with that copper pipe. That copper pipe will be drawing a few thousand amps from that forklift battery. Okay, probably like about 2,000-3,000 amps from that forklift battery. What will happen is if you took something like a small wrench, a small steel wrench, it will stick to that copper pipe because that copper pipe is conducting that 48 volts from that forklift battery at 1,000, 2,000 amps. Same thing with the car battery. You can do the same thing. You use a smaller copper pipe, short, dump 1,000 amps through that pipe. It will become magnetic. That is a simple demonstration one can do to be able to actually see the effect of electrical current flowing through a conductor, creating a magnetic field. Now, this effect is more pronounced the higher the amperage. Even if you have your power cord to your TV, that's generating a magnetic field, but because you don't have, a few thousand amps flowing through there, paper clips and wrenches and stuff are not going to stick to it. Okay. So now we have a very firm visualization and understanding of what generates a magnetic field. You must have a flow of electric current. So you must have a flow of electricity with amperage. Okay, that's why if you look at permanent magnets, you can have, let's say, a cylindrical magnet. If you look in a magnet catalog, let's say we have a cylindrical magnet 2 inches in diameter. If you look at the pull force, what that magnet is rated to, the amount of weight that it can pick up. The thicker the magnet, the more weight it can pick up. Why? Because there's more conductor for that electrical current to flow through, therefore the amperage is higher. Because if you go online, you can go on YouTube and look at how permanent magnets are made, and you will see that process induces, because it's purely an induction process, you will see that process induces a permanent flow of electrical current in that material that's being magnetized. I did this explanation to really nail down the this point of what generates magnetic fields. It is the flow of electric current. Okay, next point. Back to the demonstration of dropping the neodymium magnet on the copper plate and the iron plate. Okay, what's going on with these eddy currents? You have a moving magnetic field. Copper is a conductor. Iron is a conductor. They're both metals. They're both conductors. What happens is when you have a conductor and you take a magnet and you basically move that magnet by that conductor real fast, the magnetic field moving through that conductor stimulates that conductor. It stimulates that conductor and it causes the conductor to ring on an atomic level. Okay? And that ring is what we interpret as electricity. So I'll say this again. You take a magnet, which is generating a magnetic field, and in another video, I'll explain exactly what a magnetic field is, which is, I'll say it real quick. It's, basically a self-looping of the vacuum of space itself. You can call it the 0-point field. Nikola Tesla called it the etheric field. It has many names. I like to call it the ether myself, the aether, A-E-T-H-E-R, not the chemical. That's, basically what a magnetic field is, but that's for another video. So anyway, you have this field, this magnetic field, and when you move it past a conductor, that field, a magnetic field permeates anything. It can go through anything. So it's going through that conductor and it's moving. So it's creating a ring on an atomic level of the conductor. So basically, you have this magnetic field ringing the atoms of the conductor. Okay, the atoms or the molecules are made up of the atoms, right? So it's the friction. Okay, the electricity is a result. Electrical generation is a result of a friction that's a result of a conductor having a magnetic field move through a conductor. That field is creating friction in the molecules and atoms of that conductor. Okay? So a good analogy would be, let's see. For example, those singing bowls. If any of you guys are familiar with singing bowls, if you're not, just look it up on YouTube. Singing bowls. So you have this gong, you have this quartz. They're usually quartz. This big singing bowl. And the way that you get it to ring is you rub the gong on the circumference of the bowl, and it produces this tone. It produces a frequency. It rings. Okay. Well, that ringing that we hear in the bowl is a direct result of the friction of that gong rubbing the circumference of the rim of the bowl. Okay, that's an analogy that I'm trying to use to explain what's actually going on when a magnetic field is moving through a conductor. Well, that's what's going on. That's what electricity is. It's that ring that is produced in that conductor on an atomic level. Now, yes, I know that's not what conventional electronics says, but conventional electronics also says that you can't get more energy out of a circuit than what you put in, which is not true either. Okay? So just hear me out. This is how I understand it, and this is how I'm explaining it, which what I'm saying is true. Okay, so that is why the copper plate generates electricity when the magnet is falling towards it. You have a moving magnetic field. That field is creating a friction on the atoms of the copper, the molecules and atoms of the copper plate. That friction is what we call electricity, or the result of that friction is what we call electricity. Okay, that ring that results from the friction of the magnetic field moving through the copper plate. Okay, so that's where the current is generated. That's where the electricity is generated. So all that happens is the electricity circulates. Eddy currents is a circular flow of electrical current. It circulates in that copper plate. So that's your flow of electricity. Okay, and what happens when you have a flow of electrical current? A magnetic field is generated. So that copper plate generates its own magnetic field that is a result of the moving neodymium magnet falling towards it that stimulates an electrical current in the copper plate. That electrical current circulates inside of that copper plate. Therefore, that copper plate produces its own magnetic field. And the magnetic field that the copper plate produces is in opposition to the field of the magnet. A magnet has a north and south pole. Let's just say it's the north pole. Okay, so the north pole of the magnet is facing the copper and it's falling, so it's moving through the copper. The copper generates eddy currents, and those eddy currents generate a magnetic field, and the polarity of that magnetic field is north pole as well. The face of that copper is also a north pole. And what happens when you have in magnetism, when you have two magnets and you have the same poles facing each other, they repel. If you have opposite poles facing each other, they attract. Well, the face of the copper becomes magnetically polarized with the north pole, and you have the north pole of the permanent magnet falling towards it. That's why it slows down, because that magnet's being repelled by the magnetic field generated in the copper plate. Whereas steel, on the other hand, instead of steel generating the face of the steel generating a north pole as a result of the eddy currents generated in that steel, as a result of the neodymium magnet falling towards it. The steel generates a south pole. Therefore, it attracts the magnet. That's why the magnet accelerates as it approaches the steel plate or the iron plate. Again, for those of you all, for y'all that don't know, steel is iron. It's iron with, especially if it's a low carbon steel, you know, it has less than 2% carbon. Okay, so it's mostly iron. Okay, so that's why the iron plate or the steel plate attracts the magnet. That's why the copper plate repels the magnet. Okay. Now this is critical. I really need you guys to understand this. This is how my invention works. Okay. So I'm going to say it again. The copper plate produces, as a result of the eddy currents generated in the copper plate, as that results from the moving magnetic field of the neodymium magnet falling towards it, it polarizes the face of that copper plate with the pole that is the same as the pole of the magnet falling towards it, or the face of the magnet falling towards it. Okay? With the steel, it does the opposite. It generates a magnetic polarity that is opposite of the pole of the neodymium magnet of the face that's facing it, and it attracts to it. And okay, let's see. Why is the magnetic field generated by the induced eddy currents in the copper plate in opposition to that of the permanent magnet's field? The answer to this question is critical because this phenomenon is literally back EMF, or it's called back electromotive force. Yes, the same back EMF that plagues everything from conventional automotive alternators to transformers to the electricity generators in nuclear power plants. Back EMF is the reason why it takes 1 horsepower of rotational energy to spin the rotor of a generator for it to produce approximately 746 watts under load. Back EMF is the direct reason why all conventional generators and transformers on this planet are literally fighting themselves during the process of electricity generation. So I ask again, why is the magnetic field generated by the induced eddy currents in the copper plate in opposition to that of the permanent magnet's field? The answer is simple. In the back EMF generated in the copper plate that is resultant of the permanent magnet falling or moving towards it is a direct consequence of the diamagnetic nature of the copper metal itself. Diamagnetism is a quantum mechanical effect of which back EMF is the result. So what exactly is this quantum mechanical effect? I believe it is actually the direction of spin of the atoms that compose the copper plate itself. Now, what external force is directly responsible for the direction of spin of the atoms in the copper plate, or any element for that matter? Is it the gravitational pull of the Earth? Or is it the Earth's magnetic field? Honestly, I don't know. But I hope one day these secrets will be revealed to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. Okay. Now, everything I've said prior to reading that paragraph was in preparation for my explanation of what I just read in this paragraph. In review, we drop the magnet onto the copper plate. We have a repulsion action. We call it back EMF. And the magnet falls gently onto the copper plate because its speed decelerates as it gets closer to the copper plate as a result of magnetic repulsion. Steel plate, drop a magnet, it speeds up as a result of magnetic attraction. Because in both the copper and iron plates, they're both metal, they're both conductors of electricity, that friction of that magnetic field stimulating these metals to ring that we call electricity, and that ring, you know, that electrical current flows in these conductors, therefore they generate their own magnetic fields. So the question is, why does the iron plate generate a magnetic field that is in attraction to the permanent magnet, yet the copper plate generates a magnetic field in opposition to the field of the permanent magnet? This is the key of how and why my invention operates. This is how it works, okay? Follow me real closely here. This is because it's not hard, it's really simple. Follow me closely. Okay, you heard me say something about spin. Let's back up. Diamagnetism. That is a trait of copper metal. Magnetism. That is a trait of iron metal. Obviously, diamagnetism. Let me read this definition again, because I really want to make sure we understand exactly what's going on here. Diamagnetism is a quantum mechanical effect of which back EMF is a result. Well, you have an atom. An atom is nothing but a ball of energy. Okay, you can call it a ball of light, you can call it whatever. Okay, this has been proven. Okay, atoms, basically the fundamental building blocks of everything, even atoms, they call them quantas, packets of light, energy. Okay, atoms, as we know from pictures taken by electron microscopes, are spheres. They're little balls. Okay, they're balls of energy. Okay, so you have this ball of energy, this atom, this ball of energy. Let's forget about all the electrons and all this stuff that, you know, we're not sure, because I have never seen any photographs of an electron. I've seen photographs of the atom, and the atom looks like a ball. It's a sphere. We know it's energy because of the nuclear bombs that have been detonated in our history. You can see what happens when you crack an atom. A whole bunch of energy comes out, and what comes out? A whole bunch of light. Energy. So an atom, you have this ball of energy, and this ball of energy is vibrating. It's in motion. This atom is spinning. Conventional quantum physics says you have this electron cloud, you know, rotating about the nucleus. Okay, whatever it is that's spinning, these balls of energy that we call atoms are spinning. The atoms in the copper plate are spinning in the opposite direction of the atoms in the iron plate. It's that simple. Okay, so ferrous metals, magnetic metals, the atomic spin in these metals are the same. Diamagnetic metals, like copper, the direction of atomic spin is opposite than that of the direction of atomic spin in ferrous metals. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. Now, in another video, because of time, in another video, I'll post it on my Patreon page, and I will go into much further detail, because one will have to understand exactly what the magnetic field itself is to understand exactly how this direction of spin is so critical and creates completely opposite effects between the interaction of a magnet and a piece of iron and the interaction of a magnet and a piece of copper. Okay. The essence of my invention, the essence of how it works, is an atomic explanation. It's an atomic effect. It literally has to do with the spin direction of the atoms in the copper. And this is the key to back EMF. Back EMF is why the output wattage of all commercial transformers are less than the input wattage of said transformers. Yes, you do have loss through resistance. You do have loss through heat. Okay? Heat is a result of resistance. Yes, there is some loss there. But in nature, when you put energy in, you're supposed to be getting more energy out, not less. This scarcity, this is a man-made condition. Nature doesn't operate that way. Because if nature did, the sun wouldn't be shining right now. The earth wouldn't be rotating on its axis right now. The earth wouldn't be rotating on its axis while simultaneously rotating around the sun. And the sun wouldn't be rotating around the galactic core. What is powering all these movements of these gigantic celestial bodies? And they've been doing this for thousands, for millions, for billions, Lord knows how many years. The universe operates on multiplication, on abundance, not scarcity. The universe is growing, it's not shrinking. Okay. The way a transformer should work, you should get more out than you put in. The reason why our commercial transformers put out less than what you put in is because they are fighting themselves internally. The same, and we call this back EMF, back electromotive force. This same condition or same phenomenon of back EMF plagues generators in our power plants. That's why, as I said before, you have to have 1 horsepower of rotational force to spin a generator while you have it under load to pull 746 watts out of it. See, we have to eliminate that back EMF. That back EMF is what's holding us back as a civilization. And that's what this is about. You eliminate that back EMF, you go from scarcity to abundance. You go from a conventional transformer outputting less than what you put in to my transformer, which is what the energy generation power unit is, the EGPU, to more out than what you put in. Theory. The true source of back electromagnetic force, back magnetic force, electromagnetic force that plagues all conventional generators and transformers has been clearly identified as the diamagnetic nature of copper. That's the culprit here. That the type of metal that we are using in the coils, that the rotating magnetic fields that are generated by the rotors and all these generators, that metal that we're using in these coils that are being stimulated by the rotors, the rotating magnetic fields of these rotors, it's the wrong type of material. And I'm getting ahead of myself here, okay? Let's see, furthermore, I have been able to create a solution. This solution is very simple. Instead of wire made from a diamagnetic metal such as copper, the pickup coils in an alternator or the secondary coil in a transformer should use wire from a magnetic metal such as iron. That's the secret's out. The secret is out. That's the essence of my invention. All I did was I just had to redesign the transformer. I will be coming out with a new version of an alternator as well, and some modifications that you can make to an alternator to, get it to produce free energy, but that's further down the road. But right now, the matter at hand, that's how my invention works. I had to re-engineer or reinvent the transformer. Let me read that statement again. The solution, and the solution to what? The problem of back EMF. The solution is very simple. Instead of wire made from a diamagnetic metal, such as copper, the pickup coil in an alternator or secondary coil in a transformer should use wire made from a magnetic metal such as iron. When this is done, I am theorizing that an effect will be witnessed that will be directly opposite to the phenomenon of back EMF. In a generator, the stator will attract the rotor instead of repelling it. And just for you guys that don't know, the stator is the part of the generator that is stationary. That's where the pickup coils are that generate all the electricity. And the rotor is the part that spins. And that's the part that creates the magnetic fields, and it spins, so you have a moving magnetic field stimulating the pickup coils of the stator. Okay, in a transformer, instead of the secondary coil repelling the primary, the secondary will be in attraction with the primary. Therefore, when you draw a load from this theoretical transformer, instead of the primary pulling more current from source, the primary will pull less current from source, while the output of the secondary should either remain the same as in comparison to a conventional transformer, or the secondary may output more current as in comparison to a conventional transformer. So let that sink in. You may have to stop the video and rewind and listen to that a few times to really understand, because my objective here, I want we the people to understand how and why my invention works, why free energy is a reality. You can get more out than you put in. And this is why right here. This is why you have a transformer. Transformer has a primary coil, which is the input, a secondary coil, which is the output. Okay. So I want to try to keep this as simple as possible, so because I want everybody to understand this is simple, it's not hard. Okay, that before, when you have your circuit open, that secondary coil has no load on it, right? The terminals of the secondary coil are not shorted, which means there's not a wire connecting the two terminals. It's open. That primary coil that, you know, you plugged into the wall, or you plugged into your generator or whatever, that primary coil has a, what we call a resistance. We're going to skip the natural resistance, the actual resistance of the wire that makes up that coil. You know, it could be like 1,000 feet of wire wrapped up or something, or around an iron core of that primary. Let's overlook that for now. These transformers, all transformers, the primary coil has to switch. You have to put electricity in and either take it back, or put electricity in and then reverse the polarity. It's either DC square waves or alternating current. Okay, for the layman out there, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, I only have enough time for this video, so you may have to do a little research as to what DC current is and AC current is. So there's something called inductive reactance. Basically, the primary coil is a resistor, and the resistance is high when there's no load on the secondary, on the output of that transformer. So the moment you start putting the load on that secondary, you start lowering the inductive reactance value of the primary. So the resistance of that primary coil decreases the more you draw power from the secondary coil. So real simply, you have primary coil, secondary coil. So in a conventional transformer, the more power you draw from the secondary coil, which means the lower the resistance of the load that you put on that secondary coil, it also lowers the resistance of the primary coil. And that primary coil is a load on source, and source could be your wall outlet or a generator or a battery or something. Okay. So the more energy that I put from the secondary coil, it's going to cause the primary coil to pull more energy. Why? Remember, we're talking about conventional transformer here. Yes, the back EMF, but what is the back EMF actually doing to that primary coil? Well, why does electricity flow in the first place? Differentials. That's why electricity flows. See, in nature, when you have an imbalance, nature automatically tries to balance an imbalance. We call that a differential. That imbalance. The imbalance is called differential. That's what causes electricity or electrical current to flow. That's why you have a positive terminal and a negative terminal on a battery. So I'm going to kind of stop right there. Maybe in a future video, I can get into the explanation on a quantum level, because this is all quantum mechanics here of what's actually going on, why the back EMF reduces the resistance of the primary coil. Okay, it creates a higher differential between the two terminals of the primary coil. Remember what a coil is. It's nothing but a long piece of copper wire. Okay, it's nothing but a long wire. So when I say terminals, it's one end of the wire relative to the other end. That's all it is. It's just a long piece of wire wrapped in a cylindrical fashion. That's all a coil is. That's all it is, a long piece of wire. Okay, So in review, a conventional transformer, the more you load the secondary, it lowers the resistance of the primary, therefore causing the primary to pull more current from its source of power. Now, my transformer, when you eliminate the back EMF by using the secondary, making the secondary from a magnetic material instead of a diamagnetic material, so there will no longer be back EMF. As a matter of fact, you have the opposite of back EMF, and we'll call that, forward EMF. How about that? We have back EMF and you have forward EMF. So you have repulsion, back EMF, you have forward EMF, attraction. And I made that term up, of course, forward EMF. That's not a standard electrical definition in electronics. Okay, so when you have a secondary made from a ferrous material, a magnetic material, when I put a load on my secondary, it's going to increase the resistance of the primary coil, therefore causing the primary coil to pull less electrical current from its source. So in a conventional transformer, when you load the secondary, it decreases the resistance of the primary. In my transformer, when you load the secondary, it increases the resistance of the primary. That's how my transformer, because the energy generation power unit is nothing but a transformer, a glorified transformer, where the primary coil is made from copper and the secondary coil is made from iron. That's all it is. So how do you get more energy out than when you put in? Because let's say you're putting 1,000 watts into the primary of my transformer, the Egpu. Okay, as I start pulling 1,000 watts from the secondary, from the iron secondary, then the primary is no longer going to be pulling 1,000 watts. It's going to drop down. Theoretically, I think it will drop down to around 300 watts. Unfortunately, I have not been able to build this transformer yet. But stay tuned. Just hold on. Hold on. Just hold on. Okay. That's how my device works. That is the secret. That's exactly how it works. I've given you everything as far as theory, since I haven't actually built it yet. We're going to, we have to call it a theory. And then hopefully, if my objectives are accomplished via this video, the next video in the future, I will be building the Egpu right here on camera in front of you, testing it right here on camera in front of you, and my theory will become theorem, because that demonstration of the neodymium magnet falling to the copper plate and the neodymium magnet falling to the iron plate already proves this will work. Let me show you. The fall, the velocity, the speed at which the neodymium magnet is moving towards the copper plate. Okay, where is that? What's causing that magnet to fall towards the copper plate in the first place? Gravity. But the bucking magnetic field that the field of repulsion that the copper plate is generating due to its diamagnetic nature, that's energy being wasted. That energy is counteracting the pull of gravity. Whereas In the iron, the pull of gravity is being assisted. It's being amplified. It's being amplified. Do you see now? That's how I know this will work. That's why I did all this. That's how I know it will work. But, you know, to be fair, it's theory until on camera I show that it's not, and it will become theorem. So let's get to application. Last section of this paper titled Theory of Operation. Application. In my quest to develop the eGPU, I wanted to design a generator that will last as long as possible, requiring the absolute least amount of maintenance as possible. This can be accomplished by designing a generator that is solid state, no moving parts in nature. Therefore, I decided to design a transformer instead of an alternator that has moving parts. So that's pretty self-explanatory, okay? I'm not playing games here. I'm not going to be wasting time, you know, building some tiny little transformer, you know, oh, look, it lights up some LEDs. No, we don't have time for that. We've had centralized power for literally over 100 years in this country. If I could think of this, and I don't even have any degrees, I'm pretty sure things far better than this have been thought of. Let's not get into conspiracies. I'm just saying. Okay. Through the knowledge I've gained from my observations of said experiment, I am so confident in my theory that I have designed, I have already designed a standalone free energy generation system that is based on this free energy transformer of my design. I call this free energy transformer I've invented eGPU, which stands for Energy Generation Power Unit. The system that I just spoke of in reading this paragraph is, okay, you have this transformer that can output more energy than you put into it. Okay, congratulations, great. How can we get that to power our house so we can eliminate our power bill every month? And that I've done that too. That's titled eGPU System Block Diagram. So the eGPU is the free energy transformer. In reality, if you're going to power your house, you're going to need other things like an inverter. You're going to need things like you do need an initial source of energy. So I call that the electricity storage device, which can be something as cheap as a car battery or something like one of these new ultra cap supercapacitors. Okay, ultra supercapacitors. Okay, we'll get into that later. Okay, so basically in this paragraph, what I'm saying here is, yes, I have this theory. This video is not just to tell you my theory. Okay, by trade, I was a machinist. It was a decade ago, but I did make things for a living. I know how to draft. I know how to design things. I've already designed this eGPU. When I say designed, I took my AutoCAD and I designed this thing. I've designed it fully. I have working blueprints for this device. Not only did I design the device, I had to re-engineer the transformer. And let me say why. Let me read this real quick and we'll get to that. Okay, so in conclusion of this paper, the last paragraph, the eGPU was designed to be a full-fledged power generation system capable of a consistent output of at least 5,000 watts but its output may possibly reach 20,000 watts. The prototype is the actual power generator that can run a cabin, home, car, etc. Okay, so this is really important because I really, now we need to understand what I'm offering you here. Okay, yes, I've designed this invention. It's nothing but a transformer that outputs more energy than what you put into it. The secondaries, the wattage from the secondary will be greater than the wattage of the primary. All right, that's been established. Theory, until I'm able to build it on camera, test it on camera to show you. The demonstration I described of the magnets falling to the copper plate and the iron plate already proves that it will work, but still, blah, blah, okay, whatever. Okay. Now, I've went beyond just designing the transformer. I've designed a system that will actually make the transformer or allow the transformer to actually power your house. That's how this benefits you. My invention, the objective of my invention is so you don't have to pay an energy bill, no power bill at all. You will be energy independent. So if a storm knocks out all the power in your community, that's unfortunate, but you have a standalone system that's completely off the grid and you will not be affected unless the storm actually destroyed your eGPU system. So this is freedom. This is self-sustainability, which is the foundation of freedom. Okay? So like I said earlier, I'm not wasting my time with, building some little thing that powers some LED. No. Let's get to the point here. I've designed a prototype that will power a house. What I have designed, what all the information I have to offer you is to get straight to the point, to power a house, to power a business, to power an electric car. Let's talk about electric cars. I mean, the first electric vehicles were running around this country in the early 1900s. By 1912, you had literally over 33,000 registered electric vehicles on the roads of the United States of America. They were mostly, obviously up north, but, you had electric milk trucks running around New York City around 1910, delivering milk every day. Same principle. They had batteries that had to be recharged. The year's 2020, and we still have batteries that need to be recharged. Yes, the range has gotten a lot better. Let's go for the kill here. What about an electric car that does not need to be recharged? Because it has its own onboard power generation system. You can drive from New York to California and back to New York and not spend a penny on fuel. Yeah, let's go for the kill. That's what I've designed. Not playing games here. This is what I have to offer. Like I said, I've designed the free energy transformer and a system by which you can couple this transformer to your house and you will become energy independent. But let me be very clear. Right now, this is theory. I'm not trying to scam anybody. I'm not trying to mislead anybody. I'm not trying to play games here. This is theory. I am calling to we the people. I am calling to you. I am calling to you to work with me to build this energy generation power unit. I have already done the hard part. I've already designed it. Well, in my transformer, there is no iron core because the iron itself is the secondary. Okay, so right now you're looking at my invention. Like I said, I've already designed it. What you're looking at is what will power a house. The average family in this country spends $300 per month on electricity. Think about all the money that you lose when the storm knocks out the power. Like if you're in a coastal area that gets hit by hurricanes and you're out of power for, a few weeks. To the poor folks in California, Oregon, Washington, fires have devastated entire cities, entire areas, millions of acres up in flames, up in smoke. I wonder how long their power is going to be out in those areas. So as you can see, this is what the transformer looks like. And so what I did was I had to design a system by which I could physically get the primary windings and the secondary windings close enough to magnetically couple or induction couple efficiently. And this is the design that I came up with. And actually, it's a quite efficient configuration, of quite efficient way of getting the primary and secondary to couple. And it's wow, this is going to be a really great device, especially with the magnetic nature of iron. Because if you notice, the way this thing is designed is right now you're seeing what I call one cell. You have one layer of iron secondary, and you have a layer of copper primary below it and a layer of copper primary above it. Therefore, this is going to create magnetic flux lines that will go through the iron due to the copper layer on top of the iron is in attraction to the copper layer on the bottom of the iron. I hope I'm explaining this well. I know the electrical engineers out there are going to know exactly what I'm saying, the significance of this cell. So this transformer is made up of 100 cells. So this is what I have to offer. This is what I'm practically giving away. I have full working blueprints of every single piece of this machine. I was going to sell these blueprints for $30. That's it, 30 bucks. But I said, you know what? Even though, I have to make a living like we all do. Even though I need to, build infrastructure so I can, mass produce these things, etc. Based on my research, this needs to get out. I'm not going to hold back. I'm not trying to get people to give me money so I can be successful. And, usually what happens from what I've researched is, none of these free energy machines see the light of day. Because if they did, we will be able to go online or go to Walmart or something, or go to Granger or go to Home Depot and pick one up. Don't exist. So, to make this technology accessible to everyone from the get-go, from the very beginning, I have put together a package that includes full working blueprints of every part of this machine with support paperwork. I have a parts list. I even, in this parts list, and this is the parts of the actual energy generation power unit. In this parts list, I even have done the work for you, and I even have listed large machine shops that can fabricate the parts for you, that have their contact information here. At the time of making this video, which is today, I think today is the 12th, October the 12th, 2020. I'm still waiting on them to get back with me on the quotes, because I have already sent them the AutoCAD files and the blueprints. Oh, and that's another thing. I'll be in my package, I have AutoCAD files, the actual files, AutoCAD files that I created, and I have actual blueprints, drafting drawings, technical drafting drawings that a machinist can interpret and build or fabricate these parts, and then you assemble them into the generator. Okay. I have the theory of operation, which I read to you. That's what this is. And this is all in the package with the prints. I have something called the eGPU system block diagram. And like I said, okay, we have the free energy transformer. How do we use this to where we can get off the grid? Well, that's what this is. And it shows how, it shows the supporting electronics you'll need. You'll need some sort of battery or super cap. You'll need a switch, something that will take the current from your energy storage device and switch the primary of the eGPU. You're going to need an inverter. So you take the output of the eGPU and feed it into the inverter, which will convert that DC voltage into the AC voltage that your house runs on. You'll need a switch controller. You'll need a charge. A charge controller. I'm not going to go into all that because it's not complicated, but it's not something you can explain in 5 minutes. So now, a supporting document for the eGPU system block diagram is something called the eGPU system block diagram explanation and parts list. So this first parts list, these are the parts that need to be fabricated by a machine shop to actually build the eGPU, the transformer, the free energy transformer. The second parts list, this is what you need to actually build the eGPU system. So, I put a lot of work into this. You have everything you need. I tell you where to get it. Most of the stuff, tell you how much it costs, everything that you need. So let's go to the next document included into the package with the blueprints. This is called the experiment of proof. Okay, those of you who buy the plans and you actually build this thing, I have this document here that I put together called the experiment of proof that shows you or describes to you exactly how to test this thing. Okay, and it's kind of long, but anyway, that's included in there. Okay, so down to the conclusion of this video. I have given you how I've identified my invention. I've told you what it can do, or what I theorize it can do, what I know it will do. I have told you the perks of application, how to apply this thing. Get yourself off the grid. Have your own ability to generate your own energy without having to consume any fuel, which means you don't need to go and pay somebody something every month so you can keep the lights on. Those of you who have electric cars, or may want to convert an old car, throw an electric motor in there, well, this is the power source. You won't even have to charge your electric car. As a matter of fact, your electric car could, power your house too. Let me say that again so you can really understand what I'm saying here. Okay, I just said, with this type of technology, with this little free energy transformer, this transformer that's made out of copper and iron coils, this is a power source for an electric vehicle that will allow you to drive as far and as long as you want, and you don't even have to stop and recharge. Okay? Can't do that with solar cells. Can't do that with windmills. Okay. So, that's what I have to offer. Why am I doing this? The first reason why I'm doing this, because I need to make a living too. Be straight up, I don't play games, to be honest with you. I need to make a living too. Second reason why I'm doing this is we, the people, we need this knowledge, which I've just given you. I've just shown you. We need this knowledge. We have, it's been over 100 years since we've had electric cars, and we still don't have independent power generators by now. Yeah, we need to take matters into our own hands. No, that needs to change, okay? That has to change. And the way that's going to change is we, the people, take matters into our own hands, and we do it ourselves. And that's what I've done. I've set up a Patreon page, and I'm going to read to you my objectives, why I'm asking you to please subscribe to my Patreon page. And before I read this, I just want to say this. This package of plans and supporting information and parts list and all this kind of stuff, I was going to sell it for $30 to raise money so I can build my own power unit. And then I have other inventions I've already designed, many others. A couple of them deal with free energy, and some other. I will talk about that in the future, because this is my career. This is what I want to do for a living. I'm good at it. Okay, but I also want, I need to make a living, but I also want this technology out. This needs to be, so many of us need to have this that it can never disappear, if you get what I'm saying. This must see the light of day. Therefore, I've set up a Patreon page, and instead of selling these plans for $30, just subscribe to my Patreon page for $5 a month. $5 a month. That's it. That's all I'm asking. $5 a month. You could go and subscribe to my Patreon page right now. Download, because as soon as you become a member, the plans are there. You can download them just like that. And then you can cancel it. That way, you've got the plans for $5. All of us don't have money. I know how that is, trust me. Okay? $5 is something to where I believe 90% of the population of this country could get those plans. Okay, I really do want, I'm literally giving this away. I really do want everyone to have this. We need to know that it's possible to generate free energy. Free energy is possible. It's a reality. As I said, that's how the universe works. The universe works on transformation, multiplication, abundance, not scarcity. That's a man-made idea. Universe don't think like that. Universe thinks abundance, self-sustaining, self-sustainability. So that's all I'm asking. Please go to my Patreon page. It's listed in the description box below this video. Please subscribe to my Patreon page. It's only $5 a month. Give me a chance, because I will be posting other content on that Patreon page. I have valuable information to share. Okay, so that $30 could be a 6 months of subscription on my Patreon page. Or just pay the $5, download the prints, and unsubscribe. I mean, it's up to you. I'm willing to work for you. Okay? You know, by you subscribing to my Patreon page, you're giving me the opportunity to produce more content that's going to capture your curiosity, intrigue you, knowledge that you can use to increase the quality of your life. So as long as I'm putting that out, you know, maybe you'll feel compelled to keep paying that monthly subscription of $5. That's all I'm asking. Just subscribe to my Patreon page. Okay, so now let me read how this will benefit you. Because yes, I want to benefit, of course, too, but you need a benefit too. Once I'm able to raise enough funds, I will have the parts for the eGPU mass produced, which will substantially reduce their cost of production, and I will offer the following options. A kit that you can buy and assemble the eGPU yourself, but you will still have to buy the electronic components to build the eGPU system to power your home, business, farm, or even electric car. And those electronic components will be things like the inverter, the charge controller, your SSR, which is a solid state relay to switch to primary, you know, stuff like that. These are over-the-counter things that are easily gotten. They're all over the internet. Nothing exotic there. So instead of you just buying the prints to support my work, you can actually buy a kit, and that I can, you know, I can make a living off of that, and you can have free energy in your home. Okay, the second option that I'll be offering is a package with the eGPU already assembled. Also, all of the electronic components to build the eGPU system will be included as well. Therefore, all you have to do is build the eGPU system and install it into your home. Right now, I'm just giving you the reasons why I hope that you will go to my Patreon page and subscribe. I'm laying it out on the table, what I have to offer. Actually, I'm laying it out on the table, what I have to offer. But anyway, I'm laying out what I have to offer. Okay. So in closing and in conclusion, because you probably have things to do, and I've been talking probably for almost an hour now. I've invented a free energy power generator. My name is Kwaku Overunity. I've started a company named Igne, I-G-N-E. It's Latin for celestial fire, and I think it's a pretty cool name. I have already designed this thing. I have full engineering blueprints that can be taken to a machine shop for anybody to be able to build one of these things. After you get the package I've put together, which consists of the technical drawings, which there's a lot of them for all the different parts. Technical drawings, theory of operation, eGPU system block diagram, eGPU parts list, experiment of proof, and block diagram explanation and parts list. You get all these supporting documents to where once you download this package, you literally won't need me. You got everything you need to do it yourself, all the way to building a system and installing it into your home. Okay, you won't need me. GPU, please subscribe to my Patreon page so I'll have the funds to be able to mass produce these units, and we're going to get it straight to the public. We're not playing games. We're not going to go through, let's go patent and, have that held up for a year or two. Let's go. No. Straight to the public. This will be sold as an experimental device. This is for, experimental purposes. And this is what has to be done to get this out. This is how you do it. Just get it out. Just do it. And this is what I'm doing. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching me do a lot of talking. I hope that I provided some good information for you. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And please subscribe to my Patreon page. And you'll hear from me again. You have a wonderful day. Thank you.